So I will talk about Guns Akimbo. This was a show that, for the moment I saw the trailer of it, I was like, I have to see this because I don't know. I just have a soft spot for these wild, crazy, over the top, potential cult classic kind of films, right? Stuff that just weird and weird premises and all that, but they entertain. They keep you at the edge of your seat throughout, right? Um, so for the first trailer, I was digging the style of it. Radcliffe was in it. You know what I mean? Samara Weaving, who I really enjoyed with the show that she was in last year, and also a potential cult classic, Ready or Not, right? So
Right.
it was the two of them, and it was the premise that I just couldn't get over, right? So essentially, just jumping into what the movie's about, right? So it's set in this near future. That uh, technically it's alternate because they do mention, they do have a couple of pop culture references. They mention, well, Facebook and Twitter are existent in this universe here, and what it's about, right? So we introduced to this character of Miles, right, who's played by Daniel Radcliffe, right? He is he's a computer programmer, right? He would well, basically he was involved in this phone game basically, right? I forgot the name of the game basically, but yeah, he was one of the programmers with that, right? While he's not working there, he basically is a troll hunter, right? So what he does is that he would just look for people online who just talk a lot of shit about just anything, and he will just respond to them right harshly, right? So that's what he does. So in particular, there is while right. So in this feature, there's also a criminal organization called Schism, right? Uh, Essentially they are a criminal organization, but they're also somewhat of an underground fight club, right, in a way. But what they do is that they have this event, I should say this game, right? Think of the Running Man, right? Think of 1987, Arnold Schwarzenegger, also cult classic, right? So essentially,
Right.
what
Right.
this is that they have like these death matches, right? And they just pick these like scummy characters, right? These criminals, these psychos, and they just have these duels, basically, right, to the death. And they film them, basically they live stream them. There's even like this kind of I actually like this touch on the narrative where you have these two guys who more or less bootleg the live stream and they just do it audio commentary there. So for the people who can't afford to actually access the live stream itself, they could just watch the bootleg stream now and hear them talk through it. So I thought that was like a nice modern touch. Well, in terms of like our technological culture there. But anyway, right? So yeah, this is like the biggest thing, what I mean, online. A lot of people tune into it, what I mean? And it's just like these over the top duels, right? So essentially one guy would go after another person, what I mean? There's bullets, there's blood, there's guts, whatever weapon you get and you use. And at the end of the day, it's all about who's left standing, right? So if you going up against somebody, you manage to kill that person, you win, that's it, right? You get points and all that kind of stuff. Uh, well, one of the biggest performers, I should say, in it is the character of Nyx, right? She is just this badass chick. She's very knowledgeable of guns. You know what I mean? She just does a lot of insanity with guns, right? She is just an action hero in the making right there, right? So what Miles does is that he will log on to it, and yeah, he will be trolling the people who's be just talking shit over the forums and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
what happens is that Schism ends up acquiring the man's IP address straight, just out of the blue.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they just track the guy to his house now, so to the apartment that he stayed at. So we see the bad guy. His name is Richter, right? Played by Ned Dennehy. I know I've seen him in other shows before. He actually was in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Forgot which character he was, but he was in it actually. But yeah, so he's the leader of Schism, right? So he the goons break inside Miles' house, they knock him out. It's like, oh, we have to teach you a lesson. You like trolling people, huh? They knock him out. They and then what they do, they essentially bolt these two guns to his hands, right? Of course, there's the little strap thing that is on his on his wrist, right? Because of course it can't just be two normal guns stuck to the guy's hands just like that, right? So you have that little thing to just kind of hold the gun together in a sense, right? But yeah, essentially, yeah, these bolts that attach the guns to his hands. So yes, when he wakes up, he has these things attached to his hands, and yes, in this kind of goofy, cartoonish moments, we have these moments where he's trying to take a piss and he's trying to take off his pants and put on his pants, put on clothes. We can't do it because he has these guns attached to him, right? And what happens is that the bad guy Richter assigns Nix to kill Miles, right? And she has a day to do it. And a little later on is because, well, is this debt that she has to pay? If this basically, if she does the job, she leaves Schism forever. Um, but in Miles' case, it's like, well, okay, now he has to kill her, or else his girlfriend is, well, who they end up capturing later on in the show, will be killed, right? So it's a race against time. Miles, by the way, is a pacifist. He's against violence, all that kind of stuff. Even though he has Doom on Xbox, but whatever is a game, whatever. And Doom is awesome, whatever. But yeah, so now it's a race against time. So now it's who's gonna kill who. Is it Nix or Miles, right? And yeah, essentially that's what the show's about. So right off the bat, yes, from what I've told you here as far as the premise, this is kind of stupid. This is kind of dumb, but 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 what I like about the show though is that it knows it's dumb, right? It knows, like, it's not trying to be smart. Well, the most intelligent, most clever, most satiric show ever, right? It's just about this insane premise that sounds ridiculous and it's just all about execution and just making it fun and just making it entertaining. And to me, this is what the show does very well, right? It really does that. It does harken back to shows that have a similar feel and theme, like Crank. Yeah, Crank is like the major example of this. This race against time. This over the top style and all that kind of stuff. Another show that I remember actually seeing in theaters, forgetting about it, but it for some reason just came back up while I was watching this. You remember Gamer?
Gamer.
Gamer, yeah, it's a show with Jared Butler. This was
Gamer. Yeah.
Gamer, yeah, right after the 300 craze there. And it
Yeah,
was this kind of death race kind of thing. Yeah, it was kind of death race kind of thing. Yes, and, well,
I know.
yeah, and it was trying to touch on, well, the violence in video games, blah blah blah. But I saw it and I didn't really care if it was forgettable. But it was kind of touching on that too.
That fella from Thing was the main bad guy. What do you call him, boy? Shit.
No, let me pull it up. I might as well.
Dexter.
Oh yes, he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael C. Hall was in that way. Wow, yeah. I forgot about
that. Which woman was in that? A famous female actress.
Oh yeah, Ludacris was in this. Zoe Bell, Alison Lohman, Terry Crews was in this. Hey, Logan Lerman was in this. Right, so he was the player who was controlling Jared Butler character. But yeah, boy. And ironically, it's from the same two guys who directed Crank High Voltage. Well, sorry, High Voltage, by the way. Huh? The ones who spoil Ghost Rider, by the way, but that's another story. But yeah, it does have the feel of like those two shows there. But of course, the big comparison is, well, Death Race, right? You know what I mean? In the future, this is like the biggest form of entertainment. Characters fighting each other to the death, but instead of cars, you have guns and whatever weapons you could find, right? Of course, yes, the Running Man is another reference as well too, but because that's in the 80s, that's like an easy reference, right? But yeah, those three shows that I mentioned, Crank, Gamer, and another show I forgot to mention. This is actually one of my all time best favorite guilty pleasure movies, Hardcore Henry.
Right.
Which is the closest thing to, the best first-person shooter live-action movie like ever made, in my opinion. Like, yes, premise-wise, it's dumb, but in terms of like execution, and just the first-person, view and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I thought it kicked a lot of ass. I really, really love that show. Well, really dug that show, I should say. Right? But yeah, so this is clearly in that vein, right? It doesn't take itself too seriously. Like yes, you do have your grim moments. You have your well, because it's a R-rated show and because of what the nature of it, you have to have those moments where something violent has to happen. That's when the realization hits. Oh, if I don't get this job done, then I'm dead. So they do that. But mostly this has this kind of it has this comedic tone, and it's just over the top action and just insanity, basically, right? Well, not too much insanity, but just over the top action and just how stylish and cool they can make things look. So, I'll just kind of mention briefly the gripes that I saw some people had. Some people felt that the editing didn't work. Some people had issues with the direction. Other people felt that the jokes didn't land all that much. And I understand where they're coming from, but in terms of the editing and the direction, I felt that because you're going for this over the top style, I thought it worked, right. You have these crazy camera movements, all that kind of stuff. But I thought it worked. I actually had no issue with the editing or the direction. I will admit, yes, a few of the jokes do fall flat. It does have a slight dated feel to it, almost like
Right.
if around the time like you remember Gamer came out like in 2009, like this is kind of show that could have come out
Yeah, that was dated then.
probably not in the 2000s, but like in the say mid to late 2010s. It feels like something that could have come out during that time now, when gaming exploded, when
Yeah.
yeah, when people were more gravitated to online content there, to streaming services and stuff like that. That would have been big here. So, but the little references that they make, it didn't take me out of the show, but ever so often I'll be like, yeah, I imagine the show would have been even more effective and popular, like in the mid to late 2010s, like I say, right? But uh, and also too, as far as like I see those moments where you always have to stop to remind the protagonist, yes, this shit is real. I felt like emotion wise, there wasn't that much range as far as Radcliffe's character go. Like there would be characters like with the exception of with the exception of his girlfriend who gets kidnapped. I felt like when it came to other deaths or other moments, which should hit home for him, like he just kind of brushes off and moves on. Like almost like the show is just like, yeah, it happened, but we kind of working with that deadline, folks. So let's move on, right? But I felt it could have been like a little moment where you could have just kind of stop and reflect and be like, okay, if I don't act now, if I don't do this now, then this is gonna happen. Um, and also, I just felt like character-wise, he took a little while on the other side because yeah, he is kind of a sheepish character. He doesn't act violently, right? But yeah, it did take a while for him to really get down and dirty. But when he does, it's cool. It's kind of funny because he only has like 50 bullets in each gun. And they always have like this little tally every time he fires a shot there. So you always see like the tally go down basically, right? So there is kind of a disadvantage to the weapons that he have. I felt well, what else? And also with all the over the topness and what they're going for in terms of just okay, this is like a video game movie come to life. I felt that the ending kinda lacked that I don't know that flavor that they were setting up. Like you had all this over the topness going on, and then the end just kind of happens. You're like, okay, I expected more out of that, or I expected it to be a lot more impactful or a lot more badass. It just kind of happens, and it's like, okay, well, all right, that's it, okay. But
You're right.
I do like the outro. Well, well, I should say the end of it basically, and the potential that it leads for another sequel. I was gonna say other sequels, but nah, I don't think they should have more than one sequel for this, right? But yeah, they do leave it open for a sequel. I like where the story ends, but I just thought though, like as far as the payoff, I felt it could have been a lot more in my opinion. But that out of the way though, yes, I did thoroughly enjoy the show regardless. I dug the
Right.
tone, I dug how over the top it was, how colorful it was, how wild it was. The premise worked for me. I know it would work for some people. They just might be like, okay, you had me at guns bolted true guys' hands, right? But they make it work. They make it as dumb and nonsensical as it could. But they make it entertaining. And that's really the sell of the show, how entertaining it is. And yeah, I was entertained from start to end. I was actually laughing at some points. I was like enjoying the action scenes. They do some really cool, like over the top action scenes, basically. Especially with Nyx too. Like Nyx has so much standout moments, and her character, yes, she's crass, she's rude, but when they give her a little bit of backstory, so you understand why she's the way she is, right? And yes, it's not the best written story out there. You know what I mean? You don't get a lot of character, setup or motivation. It's very basic. But if you go in expecting that, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna get your money's worth with it. So, as just using a term you use, it's trash, but my kind of trash, right?
Right,
I know
right,
some people will kind of go in expecting this thing to be monumentally awesome, and admittedly, no, it's not. It's not the greatest, most awesome show out there. But I would say, as far as potential or future cult classics go, yeah, this is right up there for me, Jen. And then, as I said, for when we talked about VFW, I just like the fact that there are filmmakers out there that are just willing to just tell just crazy stories that just actually kind of fun, and they could execute it well enough. We given the budget, they could add a lot of style to what it is they're doing, even though it's not that heavy on substance, and just be a crowd pleaser. That's really what it is. And yeah, this is from start to end a crowd pleaser. It's not the most. The most perfect show out there. Just let you all know that out the way. It's not a show that you'll be watching over and over and over and over. Although, admittedly, I kind of want this in my Blu-ray collection, like as soon as. But yeah, if you know what to get yourself into, if you like that kind of crazy midnight movie kind of stuff, and just seeing Daniel Radcliffe play against character, then yeah, you'll totally enjoy this. And as far as Samara Weaving goes, yeah, this is another notch in her belt as far as her career goes. I just like the fact that she is willing to take these bold, larger than life roles. You know what I mean? I don't know what her next outing is going to be, but yeah, she is. If she works her way, if she plays her cards right, she could become like this. I don't know, this cult film icon, because she has
right.
radio that, and now she has this under her belt, Jen. So I can't wait to see what she does next. But yeah, you know what I mean. So rating wise, as far as guilty pleasure goes, because yes, along with VFW, this is another guilty pleasure movie for me. I'll go with a light 4 to 5, man. Light 4 to 5 for me.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know it might not be the best thing ever for some people. I know, like, I have a feeling if you check it out, no, Ricardo, you might be like, yeah, it was alright, but not sure I'll watch it again. But if you just
Right.
go in kind of just wanting to see over the top action, crazy story, and just style upon style upon style, then yeah, you will enjoy the hell out of this one. So if you're a fan of just crazy potential cult classics, you know what I mean? Then yeah, definitely check this out. If you're looking for something with intelligent storytelling and great characters, characterization, stuff like that, yeah, skip this movie because this is definitely not for you, man. But yeah, this is a guilty pleasure for me. So I have VFW and now got to Akimbo as probably my two big guilty pleasure movies of the year. I don't know if I'll get a third one by year's end, man. But yeah, if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, I really have to stress that. If you're a fan of that kind of schlocky, what I mean, over the top action filmmaking, then yeah, definitely check out Guns Akimbo.
Right.